Good evening, 4-3. We're going to do Lesson 16, Module 3. I can understand and solve two-digit dividend division problems with the remainder in the ones place by using number disks. So we're going back to that place value chart tonight. Our first problem, 67 divided by 3, and we're going to use the place value chart to help model and solve for the division problem. And we're also going to check our work by using the inverse operation of multiplication. So let's split up 67. So we've got 6 tens. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have 7 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Good. And now what we're going to do is we are going to now break this up into 3 equal groups. So let's put that there. So we've got 1 group, we've got 2, and we now have 3. And why am I making this into 3 groups? Because it's dividing by 3. Now, I know in an earlier lesson I told you about this. How we read this problem is we kind of read it backwards. I do not want to hear 3 divided by 67, because that would look like this. And that just looks ridiculous. So that is not how we read it. We read it this way. 67 divided by 3. Just the way this one is set up. 67 divided by 3. This is how we read that same division problem. So make sure we are aware of how we are speaking when we are talking about division and reading the problems. All right, I think that this problem is a little too small, so I'm going to make it a little bigger. So 67 divided by 3. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take these 6 tens and we are going to divide it into 3 groups. So let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means we have used up all of our 6 tens, and there are 2 in each of our groups here. But how's that going to look like in our standard algorithm of division? And we would put our 2, because 3 goes into 6 2 times, just like we have over here, 2 in each group. So that means we used up all of our tens. And 3 times 2 is 6, and that's 0. So we got to bring down this 7, and now we need to work on the ones. Okay, so now we have the 7 ones, and now we're going to separate them into 3 groups. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice we've used up our 6 ones, but there is 1 left over. So how does that look like over here in our standard algorithm method? And since we have 2 in each group, 3 goes into 7. It goes 2 times because there's 2 in each group. And that gave us 6. And we are left with 1 remainder. So our quotient is 22, remainder 1. Looks like this, 22, remainder 1. All right, so how do we check our work to see if we did it right? Because we should always be checking our work after a division problem, and we should never get them wrong. Because we're checking our work. We're going to check our work, and we are going to do the inverse operation, which is multiplication. And we would multiply this number and this number. And we can't forget our remainder. So we do 22 times 3. We get 6 ones and 6 tens. But look, it's not the same because we need to add our remainder and we get 67. So we did this correct. We got a match. Check. In our next problem, we're going to we have 85 divided by 2, and we are going to show this in our place value chart. But before, let's fix this. This is 85 divided by 2. Just want to make that a little bigger. And we got to separate our 85. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 tens because it's 80. And we've got 5 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are going to separate this into 2 groups because we're dividing by 2. So let's make our 2 groups. And we're going to take those 8 tens, and split them up equally into 2 groups. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got 4 in each group. We used up all of our 8 tens. So over here, we're going to put a 4. And we used up all of our 8 tens. Now we got to do it with the ones. Let's bring down our 5. And we're going to split up those 5 ones into 2 equal groups. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we have 1 left over that's not going to fit equally in our groups. So that means we used up all of our ones. So what we have here is 2 groups. So 2 groups split up equally into 5 here. We are going to 5 ones. It goes 2. And 2 times 2 is 4 with a remainder of 1. And that's what we have here, a remainder of 1. So we have a quotient of 42 and a remainder of 1. So 42 remainder 1. That would represent this problem here. So we got our standard algorithm, this one right here, and which helps us model it by using the place value chart. And how do we check our work? Well, we check our work using the inverse operation of multiplication. And we're going to take this number 42 and we're going to multiply it by the outer number. 42 times 5 is 10 ones, carry the 1 over. 4 times 5 is 20, plus the 1 is 210. Guys, I apologize. I was multiplying by 5 for some reason. I am so sorry. Let's do that again. I am multiplying the 42 times 2. Not even sure where I got that 5 from. So 42 times 5. I did it again. Why am I thinking of 5? Multiplying by 2. 42 times 2. Sorry. 42 times 2. We get 4, and we have an 8. We have 84, product of 84. Thing is, that doesn't match our inner number here of our 85. So we need to take our remainder and add it here. So we get 85. And we've got a winner. 85 matches. Check. All right, our next one is 85 divided by 4. So let's split up that 85. But before I do that, I want to make sure I make my problem here bigger. So remember, 85 divided by 4. So let's split it up. We have 8 in the tens. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we have 5 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are dividing this by 4. So we want to set this up into 4 equal groups. So let's split this up. 1 group, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we have 4 groups. So we're going to take that and we're going to split up the 8. And we're going to do that by doing this. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got 2 groups. And we got 2 in the 4 groups. So we used up all of our 8 tens. So let's put that over here in our standard. So we got 2 times 4, we got 8, and we used up our tens. So now we need to go to the ones, which is the 5 in there. And we're going to split that up in 4 equal groups. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, so we've got 1 left over. That's not going to be able to be in a group. So we used up 4 ones, and there's 1 in each of these groups. So we're going to put a 1 here. 1 times 4 is 4, and we have a remainder of 1, just like we have over here. So it's 21, remainder 1. 21, remainder 1. So let's write that. 21, remainder 1. Remainder 1. Now, how do we check this problem to see if we did it right? Because we should always be doing that. We are going to do the inverse operation of division, which is multiplication. So we're going to multiply this number and our outer number here. This time, make sure that I'm writing down the correct number. 21 times 4, 4 ones, 8 tens, that's 84, but it doesn't match here because it's an 85. But remember, we had a remainder. So we need to add on our remainder, and we get 85. So 85 matches this, so it's a check. Excellent job. Never give up. Great things take time. Try the next problems by yourself. Using the place value chart, divide 86 divided by 4, and please make sure you check your work. So that means if you're checking your work, you're going to get 100%. Everyone should be getting 100% on tonight's video. Using the place value chart, 45 divided by 4, please make sure you are checking, because you're going to make sure you want to get 100 on tonight's video. And our last problem for tonight, 36 divided by 3. Use the place value chart to help you solve it. And please make sure you're checking, because I know you're going to get 100 tonight on its video if you making sure that you're checking. It always seems impossible until it's done, by a famous man, Nelson Mandela. Guys, great job tonight. Keep persevering and giving it your best. We'll see this tomorrow. Have a great night.